Way.
Having an open mind, having a clear mind, and an open heart are two components that are truly essential in there. So there's the, you explained quite well right now, the open mind, but there's the aspect of the open heart now that I would like to discuss with you.
Well, we talked about this last time to some degree. We have emotions that are derived from stress chemicals that we call survival emotions. Those are emotions of anger and judgment and aggression and hatred and fear and anxiety and depression and pain and suffering. Those emotions are chemical signatures from a primitive nervous system called the fight or flight nervous system. Now, 90% of most people's thoughts and feelings come from those survival emotions.
Yeah.
And they are very low frequency emotions, and they tend to cause us to become more materialists. In other words, those chemicals cause us to define reality by our senses, and we start focusing on that 0.00001% of reality, not on the 99.9999% of reality. So those emotions tend to be more dense. They endorse the ego to a large degree, and we become very selfish. We focus on our bodies. We obsess about things in our environment. We obsess about our hairstyles, our body parts. We get over-focused about time. That's what those primitive chemicals do. Now, most people consider that normal, right? Now, when you stop sending those chemical signatures to your body emotionally, when you say, today I'm not going to complain, I'm not going to blame, I'm not going to make excuses, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself, I'm not going to judge anybody, I'm going to stop that. Well, what you're really saying is you're no longer going to feed your body those emotional cues that it's going to cause it to become more dense, to become more heavy, to come slower, because your body is basically gravitationally organized energy that's sending and receiving information. Well, every time you have a lower frequency thought, you're causing your body to feel more dense, and that then causes you to feel more at effect of your external world. But when you make the decision to no longer send that energy to your body, in a sense, your body is no longer being enslaved by those emotions, because on the short term, those emotions are fine because they were highly adaptive at one time. If you're being chased by a lion or by a tribe in some way, you better have some type of emergency mode to cause you to be aggressive or to run or to protect yourself. But it becomes highly maladaptive when you're trying to function in your world and it's happening all the time and you're reacting to everything. And here's the problem, is that the more you react to things, the more you're driving those chemicals to cause you to react even more. And then what happens is, in the long term, we create that particular aspect of ourselves as a personality. We tend to memorize anger. We tend to memorize sadness or depression. And then we say, I am depressed, I am angry. And what we're really saying, our mind and body are in unison to some type of thing. So when you begin to make the decision to no longer condition your body emotionally to those states, the body begins to become liberated. The chains of those emotions that are highly addictive keep causing the body to be knocked out of balance, creates tremendous polarity. So when you begin to fast from those emotional states, and you say, this isn't loving to me, living by this emotional state, and you start making those choices, as you inhibit those circuits from firing in your brain, nerve cells that no longer fire together no longer wire together. You don't use them, you lose them. In other words, you are pruning away the old mind. And if every place where one neuron connects with another neuron is a memory, you're releasing the memory of the old self. And if you're no longer emotionally conditioning the body to the same mind, every time you inhibit that state of victimization or suffering or pain, you're no longer signaling the gene in the same way that's causing the body to stay in its same physical state.
But it doesn't really matter, because even this energy, you can't really destroy energy. So even though the energy is transferred and it's a part of you, it makes you stronger. So you got 3 times the amount of force in you than you have before. That's one reason why you are going through different types of changes. And the reason why you're going through these particular changes is because your physical body is the low level, but your spiritual body is now getting to the point that it is rejecting your physical body. So let's say your higher self or your true self have a goal in mind. They want you basically to understand a certain amount of knowledge that is key for itself to wake up. Your soul wants you to understand a certain amount of knowledge that is key for your soul to wake up. But yet you have other agendas. And all of a sudden when you find these other agendas, no matter how hard you try, they seem to fail over and over and over again. You will understand that your own energy, your inward energy, is making a hostile environment around you because it wants you to liberate it by giving it the keys and the nourishment that can make it grow and illuminate. You getting this? So what will happen is it will actually reject the physical body. And so everything around you will repel from you. You see? And you won't understand what is happening, why your jobs, why all this, and why all this here, and why I can't seem to do this, and why I'm a failure, and all of this, and you can't understand what the hell is going on. It is going on for the simple fact that your spirit's saying, I don't want that shit. So I just don't want another life. I came back down here to do a certain job. So until this damn nigga finds out, we will both have problems to the point where as I will even bring him down to death so I can get the hell out of the body and just be a force myself. So this is what's actually happening right now. Why, as I guarantee you right now, most people that came into some type of consciousness, you having money problems. That's guaranteed. Also, you got to understand some of the other people who seem to do all right is the most dead. You see what I'm saying? You got some people that ain't about shit, but they don't never suffer about nothing. About like the white man. And some black people. That is because their souls are still too young, especially black people. We're talking about us now. Their souls are still very young. And at this particular time, by their souls being very young, they are still intrigued with this bullshit because they haven't gone through it enough. So they intrigued with all the physical bull out there because they haven't been here long enough. But you are, hopefully it's supposed to be you, no matter how much wealth you get, something is still wrong. Something is still not pleasing. And that is because don't negate your contract of what you're supposed to be doing at this particular time. And now the energy is actually rising up to take care of that and all. And we will deal with some as we go on.
Peace. What's good, family? This is ZaZa Ali. Today is Friday, September the 28th. I pray that this message reaches you in the best of health, spirit, and mind. It's been a while since I did an actual, lecture-esque type of video. I kind of just been talking about, trending topics and things that, are happening in pop culture. But this is a subject matter in energy compensation that it's a part of my workbook, The Science of Self, which is going to be released for pre-orders next week. Yes, make sure y'all support. And also it's a part of my presentations for my The Science of Self lecture. And that next lecture is actually going to be in Atlanta, October the 21st. I'm doing a vision board workshop. I'm going to put up a video probably tomorrow or sometime this weekend about the importance of doing a vision board workshop and tie that into the power of the subconscious mind and how we literally, if we, imprint, visions and goals and aspirations on our subconscious mind, that we are actually bending reality in order to make those things manifest. So I'm going to talk about that briefly in the vision board workshop, in the video promoting the vision board workshop. And then y'all come out and support October the 21st here in Atlanta at Gallery 992. I'm going to do The Science of Self lecture presentation, and then we're all going to break bread and eat together. a delicious, healthy meal, and then we will provide the materials for the vision board workshop, and I will be with you guys working on that, directly one-on-one, so that when you leave, you'll have your vision board in hand, and hopefully you will feel inspired and elevated to go out and conquer the world. So October 21st in Atlanta at Gallery 992. You can get tickets on my website at ZaZaAli.com. Everything is paid for. Once you actually purchase your ticket, all you have to do is bring your beautiful self. Also, real quick, so if you're still interested in coming to Sedona, Arizona, shoot me an email to info@ZaZaAli.com. It's going to be an amazing trip. I'm just so excited about this. I haven't been to Sedona since, when was that? 5 years ago, I think, 2013. And I stayed for 5 days, and, it was just one of the most amazing, mesmerizing experiences of my life. So I'm definitely looking forward to sharing in that energy and in that spirit with all of the beautiful sisters that are coming. And this, this video is definitely inspired by and dedicated to all of the sisters who will be in Sedona, Arizona. This is some of the stuff that I'm going to be touching on there in my presentations. And also Helen, Georgia. Myrtle Beach is good to go. So if you're interested, hit me up at info@ZaZaAli.com. Myrtle Beach is going to be a really dope retreat because we're calling it living your best life, right? And it's going to be, my normal workshops and presentations, and we're going to build on the science of self and emotional and mental healing and well-being. But we also going to kind of turn up and have some fun because we'll be literally across the street from the beach, and we'll have spa treatments, we'll have luxury gift bags, we'll have, we're going on a dolphin boat ride cruise. So it's just going to be a really fun, environment and experience. The sun's going to be out, the weather will be perfect. So, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, if you're anywhere along the East Coast or even wherever you are, and you want to come and join us for 4 nights, 3 days, it's going to be an amazing experience. Hit me up at info@ZaZaAli.com. We have 9 spots left. We had 16. We have 9 spots left. So hit me up and let me know if you're interested. All right. There's some books that I'm going to be using to reference today to kind of make the point, bring the point home of what I want to talk about when I talk about energy compensation. This conversation about energy compensation, I was talking to one of my clients. She's a dear sister to me now. And she mentioned this term, energy compensation. And when she said it, all kind of bells and whistles went off in my head and in my spirit, because it's something that I had been writing about and internalizing without having that exact title, because of things that I had been dealing with personally with people in my life, as well as my work, my business, and then, looking at the collective consciousness, the idea of energy compensation. This, particularly for Black people in America, when it comes to reciprocal energy, right, on a personal level, on a collective conscious level, what are we as Black people in America, feeding or giving to the world that is of high-minded, righteous, spiritual, abundant, elevated, godlike consciousness? I'm not talking about, hip hop, so to speak, even though hip hop has been our gift to the world. But the majority of hip hop that we hear and that's being produced is very low vibration and low frequency. So obviously, there's a revolution of some sorts happening, an ongoing revolution for liberation and justice and equality in America. But 9 times out of 10, we are on the defensive end. And just as far as producing high-minded, righteous, content, not just talking about online, I'm talking about content, I'm talking about books, I'm talking about art, I'm talking about movies, I'm talking about music, I'm talking about poetry, I'm talking about, building, I'm talking about agriculture, economics. Like what is our level of production when it comes to energy compensation and what we're giving to the planet versus what we're asking for in return? Responding to the system of racism, white supremacy, that's one area of what we will say expertise for Black people in America. But outside of being defensive and being reacting in response to that, where are we proactive? Who are we pouring into? What is our contribution to the world? I think we forget sometimes that we're global citizens. It's not just us on this planet. And so we say, well, we don't have, we have so many fires we're trying to put out. We have it hard and we have it this and we have that. Yeah, but we also have, you know what I'm saying? The same access on a spiritual level and on an energetic level as every other human being on this planet. And that's some of what I'm going to talk about because, when I say it's a spiritual war, I mean that to say, as long as we are bound by physical concepts, we will always be in bondage. But once we elevate into a spiritual mind and understand that with the power of righteous thinking, with the power of righteous intention, understanding that you are a vibrational being and that every time you think a thought, every time you feel a feeling, that you are sending a signal out into the universe, it's not just a question of, the day-to-day hustle and bustle and struggle of living in America. Like I was saying when I was in New York at the Science of Self presentation that I did there, if you're operating on the right type of frequency and in tune with your higher self, certain types of energy won't even be able to approach you. Certain people will never even be in the same room as you. You know what I'm saying? So, in the video at the beginning, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I am a very fond student of his, I'm actually going to read from one of his books, Becoming Supernatural. I love his work because he is approaching the concepts of spirituality from a scientific perspective. So I'm going to read a couple of verses or things from that book, The Kabbalion, of course, The Super Beings, which is like one of my Bibles right now, and then Frequency, The Power of Personal Vibration by Penny Pierce. So before I get into all of that, I got a message on Instagram, and it was perfect timing for me to get this message because what she's saying is something that I deal with in my one-on-one sessions with my clients. And also, getting back to that conversation about Black people in America and racism, white supremacy, and us being in a reactionary state and being victims opposed to looking at our situation from, a God consciousness, so to speak, right? So this sister gave me permission to read her message on my video, anonymously, of course. So she said, peace, sis, maybe you can shed some light on this for me. I've lately been having these conversations. I keep hearing people say, quote, people say, what you give out, you get back. You want love, get it, and you know the rest. But I believe that equation is not accurate for all situations. Sis, I have been a good person to men, family, friends who have done me so dirty. Many have lied, used me, been deceitful, all of that, and I am none of those things. I've always treated others the way I'd want to be treated. I live by this integrity. Treating people right is a principle I live from, one of the highest. So it puzzles me when people say it's what I'm giving out, because that is so very far from the truth. I'm not a deceitful person or a liar. I don't do to people what they've done to me. I think something is missing. She said, I posted a recent video about cutting people out of your life. I literally have no more tolerance for shitty. Then when I hear it's what you're giving out, I'm like, no, I'm not giving that out. I've learned people put on amazing masks and practice perfecting their facade. Eventually the real person bursts forth and nothing is like the mask. So this is important because I know her message is going to resonate with a lot of you guys because you feel like I'm a good person. Why is this happening to me? I treat people a certain type of way. Why am I being treated this way? Etc., etc. This is a conversation that I just had with another client the other day about this particular topic. So this is twofold. Number one, being a good person is not the same as being good to yourself. I'm going to say it again. Being a good person to other people, which she qualified is not the same as being good to yourself. You guys have heard me say in previous videos that you have a dominant frequency. And I have a chart that I go over in my Science of Self lecture where I basically pinpoint different frequencies and vibrations that you can be on a consistent basis. And let me try to pull this up. So you can consistently be on the gratitude frequency, the love frequency, the peace of mind frequency, or you can be on the depression, angry, and self-hatred frequency, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you're always angry. It doesn't mean that you're always happy. I'm talking about your dominant, most of the time frequency. Not what you show the world, but what you actually feel within yourself. Your feelings are just as important, if not more, I will say more important than what you actually think. Now, that's not the common consensus. People think that your thoughts are more important, but you have to remember the heart is the first organ that actually develops in the body. It is your first physical manifestation into coming into being a physical being, which underscores the importance of the heart and the importance of feelings. And this is why a lot of native and indigenous cultures emphasize the power and the importance of the heart chakra. So if you are being good to other people, yet you are not being good to yourself, in the world of energy, which is the real game, the energetic language, in the world of energy, it is counterproductive to everything that you are trying to represent, serving others yet not serving yourself, putting other people's well-being in front of your own, right? Now, we're talking science here. I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, some Hallmark card, you know what I mean, happy-go-lucky, you know what I'm saying, workshop celebration type situation that I just want you to feel good so you can buy a ticket and leave. No, this is science and it can actually be proven. So in the same way that you listen to the radio and you listen to, 102.9 is a happy frequency, but then 94.9 is the negative frequency or the miserable frequency. Whichever station you're listening to the most is the station that is your dominant frequency. So now your dominant frequency, even as you are on a physical level and from the personal interactions we have on a daily basis, right? You talked about all these different people, family, friends, men that have done you so dirty. So on a physical level, you're interacting with them in a certain type of way with integrity and treating them right? But on an energetic level, the vibrational world, and I'm going to get into the science behind that in just a second, you are interacting with people based on how you feel within yourself about yourself. And every time somebody does you dirty, there's an extra chink in your armor. Every time somebody hurts you or betrays you or, doesn't live up to your expectations or disappoints you, there's a chink in your armor. And what happens is you start to lose trust in people. You start to expect people to do you wrong because this person did it, that person did it, this person did it, that person did it. Now, your thoughts and you want to see the good in people. You want to believe that people are going to change, but your underlying frequency that you're touching everybody with the energetic language is, he did me wrong and she did me wrong and they did me wrong. I got to kind of keep my guard up a little bit because I'm expecting you to do me wrong, right? This is how most of us operate. This is why I say never trust anybody that doesn't trust anybody. Because if you have not yourself established relationships in your family, in your business operations, in your work, within your friends, if you have not established relationships with anyone in your life that you can trust, that means that you are not trustworthy because you haven't proven the cycle yet. It's not only about what people have to offer you, more importantly, it's about what you have to offer other people. So that's one part of it, right? This underlying dominant frequency of mistrust, of expecting people to do you wrong. Even though your mind is saying something different, your vibrational, energetic language is speaking, sending a signal out to the universe, and the universe is responding to you with the people, places, and things that you attract. I'm going to read a post that I put up on Instagram in just a second, because it got a very big response from people who it really resonated with, and it's talking about this exact thing. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram if you don't already. I_am_ZaZa_Ali. The second part of this equation, and this is the part that I think a lot of people lose sight of. When we say you are what you attract, right? Or let me use your language. I keep hearing people say what you give out is what you get back. You want love, give it, etc. It's not only this situation works two ways. Like I just said, you sending out signals, and those signals are coming back to you based on your underlying frequency. It's also that you, sis, as a sovereign individual being, your soul has a destiny to fulfill. You are here to complete something that is unique and specific to you, that is supposed to touch this world, change this world, elevate this world, help your family, help humanity, or, it may be something big as that. It may be something more small and unique to your own personality, depending on what your personal goals and aspirations are. But you have something unique to just you that you are here to live out. So every person, place, or thing that comes within your cipher serves you to get to that space. Everyone, from the man who did you wrong, to the mother who abandoned you, and I'm giving examples here, to the cousin who slept with your boyfriend, to the brother who left you hanging, to all of these different people on your path are here to serve your higher self and your aspirations. This is why we have to stay on the gratitude frequency. And when we are experiencing difficulty, when we are experiencing, adversity or people doing us wrong, opposed to feeling like victims or feeling like, God is misallowing or disallowing something to happen to you, or why is this constantly happening to me? It's either, I'm on the desperation frequency, and so I'm attracting people that are operating from a mindset of desperation, or experiences that reflect desperation, or my soul has been yearning and calling out for something to manifest in my life, but I'm not ready for it yet. So in order for me to get prepared for it, people, places, and things are coming into my experience to help me prepare. So on one end of the spectrum, it's your underlying dominant frequency, how you see yourself, how you see the world. Again, being a good person to other people versus being a good person to yourself, those are two totally different things. And this is why a lot of women, mothers in particular, I tell sisters all the time, we've got to let go of these concepts and ideas of sacrificing ourselves for our family, sacrificing ourselves for our children, because the day-to-day hustle and bustle of life, you're loving them and nurturing them and giving them opportunities. But if you are neglecting yourself, if you are living in fear, if you are, operating from a mindset of, I don't really matter, I'm only here to assist and support my children, and you've left your own personal goals and aspirations behind, and no longer listening to that internal yearning that is calling out to you, then on an energetic level, you are teaching your children about how women or mothers, or even them, right? Because boys internalize what we exhibit as well. You are teaching them about sacrificing themselves for the greater good, i.e. family. This is why in, the Black Power community, so to speak, the conscious community, in my opinion, we are not as successful as we could be, because we have this notion that people are supposed to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. As if, I'm not sitting here and trillions of cells are not moving through my body, and I'm this all-powerful, magnanimous being that can accomplish anything when I tap into the power that I have within me, my inner being, and I can go out and conquer the world and come back and give the best part of myself to my people. But the idea that we have to somehow sacrifice ourselves, it doesn't make sense when you start looking at things from the perspective of God and the mindset of God. So, being a good person to other people is not the same thing as being a good person to yourself. And if you are not being a good person to yourself, even if you treat people fairly or with respect or with integrity externally, the language and the relationship that you have with yourself and the constant internalizing of negative energy and negative experiences and remembering past pains as you broke down, and that is your dominant frequency. So until you change the trajectory of what's happening on the inside to you and those insecurities that you have around other people, you're going to continue to attract those types of experiences. Let me read this post that I put on my Instagram page because it's relative to exactly what I'm talking about here. I said, the universe is no respecter of persons, and the law of attraction is not a game. So wherever you find yourself at this moment, you too, sis, understand that there are people, places, and things en route on their way to you right now to match that energy. If depression, insecurity, chaos, and drama are brewing, these things will be reciprocated in your experiences. Now, I'm not talking about just people who, we all know people that are prone to drama, that start fights and sabotage themselves at work and start arguments for no reason and are just drama prone. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about that internal relationship and conversation that you have with yourself that is very self-sabotaging, very conflicting energy. At one time, I feel like I'm a good person, but I'm always questioning myself because I keep attracting people that are sending me a contrary, lesson or message about myself. So that internal conflict, you're sending mixed signals out into the universe. So what happens? You get people who reciprocate those mixed signals back into your life. The beauty in that reality is that we really do create our reality. From that perspective, there's no need to be bitter or hold grudges. All things work for the greater good. Confidence, self-love, emotional clarity, and focus. All these things take no money or external help. You don't need money to have confidence. You don't need money to have self-love. Does it help? Absolutely. But we see people all the time that have money that are more lost than anything. You heard Brother Bobby Hemmett talk about the people who tend to have money tend to be the most dead. And we can see this through, really social media is giving us a real direct look at pop culture and celebrities and whatnot. And we've been, people worship these people, but when you really look at them with a fine-tooth comb, they're miserable and unhappy people. And they have the things that people think that they need to be happy. All things work for the greater good. Confidence, self-love, emotional clarity, and focus. All things that take no money or external help are keys to manifesting what you want and imposing your will. You want financial freedom? Own it in your mind and heart. Now, let me pause on that because people take issue when, I say that and when others say that as far as, money is concerned. But case in point, we say you work hard, you have to work hard in order to be successful. But the people who have the most money don't work hard. They'll tell you they work hard. But compared to, a construction laborer that's making $8 an hour and loading boulders and, doing back-breaking labor for 60 hours a week, just to pay the basic bills, opposed to, a millionaire or a billionaire who makes phone calls and sits in meetings all day. That's not, And then if you love what you love, then it's not hard work anyway. But the people who make the most money don't work the hardest, right? So it's about mindset, having a poor man's mentality versus a rich man's mindset. So money is energy. How we see money, how we focus on money, how we think about money. If you're prone to being, and this is something a lesson that I've had to grapple with over years because I never really, it's just not it's not my nature to, to work for money. That concept has my spirit always rebelled against that. I want to do what I want to do. And the money's going to come from me doing what I wanted to do. So through trial and error, I'm finally starting to get on a path now where I can do what I want to do, and the business and all of that stuff catches up to my social and my, divine goals and aspirations. But it's about your mindset. because your mindset is what's going to inspire you to get up and go to a job, even if you don't like it, or even if it's not where you want to be, on the gratitude and appreciative frequency, right? All work is honorable. Not all work, but most work. We'll get into that another time. But I'm thinking prostitution, but that's another story. But getting up and going to work every day, being miserable and hating it, versus getting up and going to work every day, acknowledging it as a stepping stone, acknowledging that this is just where I am right now, but this is leading me to somewhere that I actually want to go. Those are two totally different mindsets. And when you start to ride that energy and that gratitude wave, people, places, and things will show up in your life. You will start to, things will start to get easier for you. I told my client the other day, she was questioning herself about her promotion at her job. And I just was like, you've earned this. You've been putting stock into, your higher self and where you want to go. And sometimes people don't see in themselves what other people see in them. So just keep putting your best foot forward, waking up every morning in gratitude. And a good way to do this is don't wake up and go straight to work. Don't wake up and, wake up 30 minutes earlier, wake up an hour earlier, spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes stretching, spend some time alone with a candle and some incense in the background, so that you're not only working merely to serve other people. When you spend time and take time for yourself, it puts a different energy around life, because you're not only pouring into what other people have built for themselves, and the role that you play for them, but you're also pouring into yourself.